ball games and hope the traffic clears around them. But yes, and how great is it that we're having this conversation as opposed to talking about potential candidates to be the head baseball coach at Mississippi State. And we've come a long way in a year.
No doubt. Look, man, Chris Lemonis made a phenomenal hire in Justin Parker, as you know, and he's just done an unbelievable job. So they're in right. Do you agree with this statement? They are in the tournament as a strong number 2 right now.
Yes, I do. I think right now, like if tournament started today, they would absolutely be a strong 2 seed, probably, paired up with maybe a non-top 8. I think you'd have a chance. Of course, you'd see a top 8 in the Super, provided everybody advances. I think that's where they are. And I think this is an NCAA tournament team. Now you're just playing for seeding. You're trying to prove your tournament worthiness. And, hey, you had 3 top 30 RPI wins last week, 3 in 1 week. I know anytime you lose on Sunday, it feels like you left money on the table, but yeah, it was a good week. But yeah, this week is a big week too, because Mississippi State's made it a big week, right? Because, Arkansas's ranked 3rd in the country, and Bulldogs now at the consensus top 15 team. And so it's going to be a big matchup at Von Walker Stadium. And so we'll be there to cover it. But I can tell you it's a big series because Mississippi State has played its way into making it a big series.
So they got to go up there and get one, right?
Yeah, I think you got to get one. I mean, obviously you'd love to get 2. I'm just not expecting that. But, Hagen Smith may be the best pitcher in the country. And so it presents an interesting scenario because, last year, when you went and played LSU, you threw off against Skeens. Well, it's a different dynamic this year because you got to turn around and play again on Thursday. And so you start getting cute with that sort of stuff. You kind of mess up everybody's schedule, to try to get into the postseason. And then, of course, get your arms on their regular rest schedule. You can't overthink that. But, yeah, that's going to be an interesting matchup, Cal Steven and Hagen Smith. But you feel like, if you can get that game into Sunday, I think Saturday's probably a bit of a toss-up, and Sundays in the SEC, you just never know what's going to happen. But, Kentucky really played well against Arkansas. Of course, Hagen Smith did his thing, but then Nick Mingione and those guys bounced back, and I didn't think that game yesterday was really even in question. I think Kentucky got on them early and had enough, got a quality start and had enough pitching to kind of keep Arkansas at bay. And this is not a high-scoring Arkansas offense. And so if you're able to get in a game like that and get a little separation, you kind of like your chances.
Steve Robertson, genespage.com, 247 Sports. All right, let's go to some of the things happening in football. Tell our listeners about, is it Bay Joby who visited Kansas over the weekend, and will he visit Mississippi State, the edge rusher from Michigan State? Wow, that was a lot.
Yeah, well, he visited Kansas in the midweek.
Okay.
Yeah, and then came to Mississippi State over the weekend, got to State on Saturday. And, an edge rusher, I mean, Jeff Levy said it himself in the December signing day press conference, so we got to find us an edge. That they weren't able to find one that could play at this level in the December transfer portal process. And now here we are. And the pickings have been pretty slim, and everybody wants those guys. It's like finding a good D tackle, right? I mean, there's not a lot of those guys, and so they're at a premium. But, yeah, he's a guy that's highly recruited out of high school, picked Michigan State, on the prowl right now. And I got a message from one of our guys that covers Kansas for 247. They thought he was about to commit to Kansas, and Kansas was visiting Mississippi State. Well, that didn't happen. And so the word that we have from somebody closely affiliated with Job himself is that he wanted to take the Mississippi State visit, get home, take a day or two, and then kind of think about things and then make a decision possibly this week unless, something else pops up. But, yeah, it's difficult to say where the leanings are now, but I think it is significant that Kansas tried to hotbox him a little bit, and he still wanted to visit Mississippi State. And let's be honest about that. I think in recent years, Mississippi State's had better defensive line production from an NFL prospect standpoint than Kansas has, and so the guy that coached those guys is still here. So I give State a good chance here. I can't say I'd call him a Mississippi State lean because we just don't know yet. I think this is a guy, too, that's thinking about the next level and where can I go that gets me ready for the next level.
Yeah, I mean, Leipold's done a good job at Kansas, but they don't care about football. So I mean, this will be interesting to see what Coleman Hutzler and David Turner can do. I mean, this would be that'd be a gut punch, wouldn't it? A tough loss for them.
Yeah, it would be, because there's just not a fallback plan, right? I mean, there's not a plan B. You need an edge guy, and we just haven't been able to identify many guys that are Power 5 talents they're willing to come here. And so when you get a guy like this on your campus, you got to find a way to close that deal, and that's very significant, not just for the class but for production this fall. And so, I give State a good chance, but to call him leaning any direction whatsoever right now is probably a little bit premature.
Does it just come down to money? I mean, the Big 12 is not even close to the SEC. So the sizzle is not there. The stadiums are not packed. Kansas doesn't care about football. I just said that. I mean, I see some Mississippi State didn't have a good year last year, but the year before they won 9 games. It's not like they've been bad for a while. Man, to me, that defensive staff and Levy have to close that. Is it just a Kansas Mississippi State battle, or is there another team, Steve?
There's a couple others, and the guy we have spoken to, a little bit reluctant to put those things out there, and sometimes that's to create a little mystery and intrigue, right? But to answer your question, no, I don't think this simply boils down to NIL. I do think NIL is a factor. Obviously, it is in every decision these days, but I think it's about getting drafted, and getting those riches, and not just what's now, not the sucker for the quick reward, right? I think this guy's a mature guy that's looking more for the long-term thing. What's best for my NFL stock? What's best for my profile? And, where can I play immediately and make an impact? And so I think all of those things factor in. So I wouldn't just say this is a bidding war by any stretch. I think this is a guy that's kind of looking at the long play and what he needs to do to get to the National Football League.
Okay, Steve Robertson, genespage.com. New Mexico State wide receiver Trent Hudson committed?
He did, and what's interesting about that too is just when you think we're done at wide receiver, Chad Bumpus comes back and says, "No, we're not." And it's a very productive guy. Obviously, has some connections with Cliff Odom from New Mexico State, and what's so interesting is heading to the visit. Talking to people around him are like, he's got some other visits he wants to take. We want to get through this process, and the thing that we have seen, I would say 9 times out of 10, if they don't commit on the visit or the day after, you generally don't get them. That's just usually how it works, right? I mean, Jacoby Jackson's a guy last year that told me from the beginning, I'm going to take all my visits and then decide. And you're thinking to yourself, yeah, sure, kid. Well, that's exactly what he does. But he's the exception rather than the rule. And so when Trent comes in, again, there's no plans to commit. It's just like, hey, I'm going to take this visit, and next week I'm going to go to West Virginia or whatever. And then he commits. And I think it's just a good job to close, give Bumpus and Levy a lot of credit there. And certainly having a relationship with Cliff Odom certainly helps. But the reality of this portal thing, as we've seen, is it's not like a high school guy that's going to go out and take 5, 6, 7 visits or whatever. These guys, once they find the right fit, they typically commit.
So with that, how many wide receivers do they have on scholarship?
85. No, I'm not.
Yeah.
And now it's so interesting to go back and look. I mean, I haven't done the math on this, but, we allocated a ton of scholarship slots during the Mike Leach air raid for receivers because, you don't just play 3 or 4. You run basically 8 guys out there and you need some other guys that are under development. And so you're kind of seeing the continuation of that. And, listen, let's be honest about this. I mean, Chad Bumpus has worn this uniform. He knows what it means to play at Mississippi State at Davis Wade Stadium and play in this league, and he was here during some great years. I don't know if you could have a better ambassador for Mississippi State than Chad Bumpus when you're out there courting a receiver, because all he's got to do is go put on his highlight tape, right? Well, I played here, and I know what it takes, right? And so I think there's some credibility in the room when Bumpus is involved, and I think that's what you're seeing. It's not just the natural process of let's go out here and recruit this guy and say, hey, this is how you fit. I think Chad Bumpus is like, hey, I know what it means to be a Bulldog. I know what it takes to win at Mississippi State. And I don't think that's something a lot of people can share around the country. Their wide receiver coaches may have been great guys wherever they've gone, but to actually have the experience itself, to know what it's like to go through 3 or 4 years as a student athlete in Starkville. I think there's some insight that Chad Bumpus can offer that most people can't.
Okay. Any other news you want to share?
Well, Montre Miller is a cornerback from West Virginia that was in over the weekend. That's interesting, and we've got basically, 3 or 4 guys they're still targeting. They want to take one more corner, and so that's a big part of this.
And you mentioned, so he's been gone for roughly 24 hours, 48 is kind of the so they, on the way the portal goes, he needs to commit soon, or he's probably not going to commit to Levy and them, right?
Yeah, that's been kind of the rule of thumb. But again, they've got some other guys that they're pursuing, and so we're in the process of kind of confirming all that. And I don't think this is something that lingers on. I think State will probably have news on Joe, but then they'll also have probably another corner committed probably before the week is over. And then I think then you start kind of selling things in, because State enters this week with 1 scholarship spot available, and there's some talk out there may be a guy going medical. And so you may have 1 to 2 spots to work with. I think both of those spots could be filled this week.
Okay, 1 with the corner, 1 with an edge rusher if they're lucky to get him.
Yeah, and I don't think this is a situation where State's just going to go JAG-Corps, right? They're not going to take just another guy just to have a guy. I think those days are probably behind us in many respects. I don't think you ever just go take a guy just to, because like they always say, you'd rather have a hole than a butthole, right? And so I'd rather know what I have than have to depend on somebody that's not going to produce. You can't go out and sign kids that can't play here.
Okay. Did I have the name of that guy right? Job?
Yeah. Well, I, as far as the pronunciation goes, sometimes that eludes me. I used to pride myself on that sort of stuff, but I've just kind of given up on it. Well, this is a kid obviously from a different part of the world, so I always want to be respectful. But Job is how I've been pronouncing it.
Okay. All right. Well, and you're going to Fayetteville, Arkansas, to bomb. Are you excited about that?
I'm always excited to go. Number one, of course, I've got family and my granddaughters live up there. But that's been a relatively new event, right? But I love college baseball. And one thing to love about going to Arkansas, even though we haven't always fared well up there, is the atmosphere is a lot like Duty Noble, except, we're the enemy, right? But those fans are fans of the league. You can talk good college baseball. You can go out there at that third base food truck, and you can grab yourself some pulled pork nachos and tacos. And so that's always the highlight of going. So if you're going to bomb and never been, be sure and check in with the third base food truck. But it's a huge series, and that's typically been the case in recent years when Arkansas and Mississippi State gets together, And so we're going to get their best shot. They're going to get our best shot. So it should be a great weekend of college baseball, win or lose.
GenesPage.com, 247 Sports. Steve, have a good week. Enjoy your trip to Fayetteville.
Thanks, buddy. We'll see you.
All right. He joined us on the Farm Bureau Insurance guest line. And lunch today is brought to you by Fleetway Market and the Market Cafe in Gluckstadt. Amazing blue plates. They've got the grab-and-go sandwiches and salads, all kinds of delicious food, Southern style. Fleetway Market and the Market Cafe in Gluckstadt. They've got other market cafes because there's over 20 Fleetway markets around the state of Mississippi. And they've got a brand new Fleetway market in Clinton that's open 24/7. Fleetway Market in Clinton too. And that's Jackson's stomping grounds. When was the last time you've been to Clinton?
I was there yesterday.
Were you checking in?
I was checking in. Cinco de Mayo. So,
yeah.
Obviously, the resident establishment down there that host us for every Cinco de Mayo had to check in with the guys.
Nice.
And
do you have some tacos?
Taco actually didn't even eat there. Just bounced in, bounced out, got out there, and went out by my house a little bit more quality out there, and got some good fajitas.
You went fajitas yesterday.
Fajitas, they were good.
Did you do any chips and salsa or chips and queso or anything?
Yeah, had to do that.
Now, are you do you like both, or do you just like one of them? As far as the salsa and queso,
it's got to be queso. It's straight queso.
Okay,
but I like a little meat in the queso.
Yeah,
like chunks.
Yeah.
it's good stuff. That it was good.
Jalapenos?
Good. Jalapenos are always welcome.
Do you like jalapenos?
I do like jalapenos. They're welcome for
Wendy made clean nachos yesterday.
Ooh.
And so I got home from Starkville. I told you, I sat out back and watched a little bit of Mississippi State baseball. I knew how that was going to go. And I thought, you know what? I stayed up way too late Friday and Saturday night. I'm going to bed. So I took the nap, got up. Wendy had already cooked some nachos. It's 4 o'clock in the afternoon.
Perfect time.
I know. I opened an Ultra, and I had clean nachos right there. She had the jalapenos out. She did black beans and deer meat.
Yeah.
Which was really nice. And then you could pick what you wanted as far as salsa and queso and jalapenos and so on. They were delicious, and I was starving.
What a spread!
I know. Isn't that strong?
Strong.
Well, we had to celebrate Cinco de Mayo too, but I wasn't going to go to a Mexican restaurant on Sunday. I'll go today, but I'm not going. It's like going out on Valentine's Day. I'm not gonna weather the storm on that. But I'm proud that you did.
I am too. I was proud of myself.
Yeah. Was it packed?
It was there. There were some people there. The one out in Jackson was certainly packed for sure.
Did you have a margarita?
I did.
Okay.
I did. Mango margarita.
A mango margarita.
They almost ran out of lime, so I didn't want to.
Wow.
They were partying.
I love it.
It was a big party. As you know, Cinco de Mayo. Of course it is.
Yeah. A mango margarita. That's fantastic. And you had your chips and queso. And then you had your fajitas.
Oh, well, it was some kind of like white cheese ranch chicken fajitas. I don't know. It's really good.
White cheese ranch chicken fajitas.
It's very.
Do you like this?
Reminiscent.
Do you like this Hidden Valley ranch?
I love that.
Really?
Yeah. See, I wish I would have had that for my Apple's pizza that I got on Friday.
Did you get an Apple's pizza?
Did.
Which kind?
You already know.
Did you get the white chicken again?
Right back to it. And it was the best. Man, I ate it, and then I woke up at, that might have been what I was doing around 4 a.m. I think I was eating that pizza.
Okay. For our listeners, I said this 2.5 hours ago. I woke up on Sunday morning, and Jackson had emailed me at 4:54 in the morning.
Casually.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure I was, finishing off that pizza.
Just dropping me an email because he loves me. I mean, he was just thinking about me. He's like, before I go to bed,
that's what it was.
I'm gonna drop an email at almost 5 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, let you know I'm doing some work. There you go. Here's an email.
You were, and you
worked.
Came in yesterday.
Well, I did and worked.
Yeah,
crazy.
Was it? Did you see any of our? So you were here on a Sunday. So you could have seen some of the. At Beagle Bagel.
Oh, yeah.
Some of the Orange Theory, Spanx, Lululemon crowd.
I got in here right before they shut the doors.
Right before
So it was a little rush in here to get their chicken salad fixed before they got out of here.
I got you.
And I don't blame them.
Let's go back to the white chicken pizza from Applos. If you drop some red pepper flakes on it.
Yeah, that's what I was looking for.
It's ridiculous.
You're talking about like the
yes.
shaky stuff. Man, that's what I was looking for.
I'll get you some.
Yeah, because I grabbed some and it was.
Because you're not going to have, you're never going to buy that.
No, I don't even know what
it's
called.
You don't even have, we went through this last week.
Pepper.
You've got like 4 things in your house.
Yeah, 4 condiments.
Yeah.
Being kind.
Right. And so I'll get you some red pepper flakes.
But
because if you get a pizza from Applos, like that white chicken pizza.
It is perfect for
And we
that.
just catered for 40 people a couple of weeks ago, and it was magnificent. And we got 4 different types, 4 different kinds of their pizza. The Supreme was big ballin'. It was so good. But yeah, that white chicken pizza from Applos and the Renaissance, or Applos and Jackson. I'm so glad you like that.
It's my favorite pizza for
Who
sure.
did I split that with? Oh, Ron. Ron came in town from Laurel a couple of weeks ago, and we got But you got to have the red pepper
flakes.
Plus, they're good for you.
Are they?
Oh,
they're
red
come on
pepper
now.
flakes are great. Derek knows that.
I was looking, man. I grabbed one of the little packets and I thought it was that, but it was Parmesan cheese, which is fine too because I need all the Parmesan.
You are a guy who needs all the Parmesan you can get.
Big fan. And I thought it was red pepper.
You got the white chicken pizza on Friday or Saturday?
White chicken pizza on Friday.
Good.
Friday night, smashed as much as I could. Woke up. Well, I didn't wake up. I got back out of bed around 5 a.m. Probably smashed a couple pieces, and then woke up about 10:30, 11 o'clock on Saturday morning. And
you ready to go?
The rest of it, and then I was out. And then it was Saturday. Business time.
Getting business done. All right. Well, I thought it was a good show today. We had, I don't know how in the hell we got on the George Foreman grill thing. I guess that Martha Stewart was
God.
the grand marshal at the Kentucky Derby.
So proud
She
of her.
said she was in Louisville, Connecticut, which when you're 82 years old and worth 400 plus million, you can say whatever you want.
You can say whatever you want.
She's amazing. She's an icon, entrepreneur. Robert St. John texted me earlier. He was listening, and he said that she started her career in catering.
Really?
I mean, it's an incredible
Holy
story.
man.
He said she's pretty much unbelievable. She got her career started in catering 50 years ago.
Wow.
She was a model in the 1970s.
Yep.
And then she parlayed all that into getting on TV and selling herself and cookware and shows and everything else. I mean, wouldn't you say she was the first food star
Yes.
on TV?
First, yes. Like when you think of QVC, you think of Martha Stewart.
Yeah. Derek, would you Google? Never mind. It's the end of the show. We'll do this tomorrow. We're about to interview Dave Bartu and his crazy you-know-what, because I talked to him on the way back from Starkville yesterday. That man is nuts.
Insider.
Yeah, he is. Yeah, that's right. College football. Well, he's going to be an NFL draft insider for us in 15 minutes because we're about to tape this interview. I hope you have a great day. If you're in the area of Fleetway Market and the Market Cafe in Gluckstadt, they have a great lunch. I mean, their breakfast sandwiches are amazing, but they have a great lunch. Blue plates, but I love the grab and go too. Sandwiches that are right there and ready to go, and salads. All at Fleetway Market and the Market Cafe in Gluckstadt. Thanks for listening to Out of Bounds. If you missed anything, go to Apple Podcast or Spotify. Search Out of Bounds with Bo Bounds. We'll see you tomorrow.